Hello, and welcome back to Storytime Banned Books Read with me. I'm Kathleen Francis, and I'm glad that you have decided to join me as we discuss challenged and banned books, their authors, and their impact. I'd like to take a minute or two to talk about some changes you may have seen on the channel. First, I did experience a copyright strike. And I'm learning more about fair use and copyright and my responsibility to publications and their authors. As we work through this, I want you to know that there may be some readings you've already noticed were deleted from the channel, in particular from my reading of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. This is unfortunate, because I was particularly proud of those installments and the readings overall. Again, I will continue to learn more and to work to provide more material within the legalities of copyright. Also, I'd like to share with you that you may see or have seen comments and interactions on some of the more popular readings. Again, I refer to Fahrenheit 451, that aren't the nicest and are challenging in and of themselves. This is welcomed. I've left them up because, true to my word, this is not about censorship. But I do ask that we all try to remain respectful, and even though these are items, books, works, and ideas that bring out a lot of emotion, that we do try to respect one another. And if your comments are a little salty, so be it. I did tell you all that I welcome your comments and interactions with the channel. Thank you very much. And regarding the difference between a challenged and a banned book, you will see a reading already posted on this channel that describes in detail the difference between the two. I'd also like to remind everyone that the challenged or banned books that I highlight on this channel are not necessarily challenged and or banned in the United States of America exclusively. I also would like to take some time to talk about another form of suppression of the printed word, and that is shadow banning. Shadow banning, simply put, is theft. That is how it is accomplished, by an individual or individuals who would rather dispense with the time it takes to fill out a form, or have, more to the point, a valuable conversation about the material that so offends or concerns them with a professional, a teacher, librarian, administrator, a professional who is dedicated to curating collections to the benefit of their communities and their organizations. Always keeping the public and education first, and freedom of information, and to access that information at the forefront, with a mind to communicate and work with you, the public. In particular, in public libraries, tax-funded, taxpayer-supported institutions, public schools, public libraries. Shadow banning is unfortunate, but it does occur. And as a result, it can result in those taxpayer-funded organizations having to purchase even more of that particular title or subject. I leave you with that, some food for thought and more information regarding the challenges and suppression of the printed word. And I found an article that I thought very germane to the conversation that is pre-recent Middle East, Western world tensions, pre-COVID even. This is an article written online on PM Press Blog. LitHub by Radhika Sainath, dated December 19th, 2017. Palestinian children's book becomes target for boycott and censorship. Radhika Sainath tries to find a book for her toddler. As a new parent, I'm now alert to a substratum of media that pass below the radar of my younger, less narcissistic self. In the space of mild leftist parenting, this means acquiring board book samizdat, such as Click Clack Moo, Cows Striking for Workplace Benefits, and A Rule is to Break, inculcating anarchist principles in pre-literate children. Of course, the post-colonial space of this genre, Babar notwithstanding, is pretty unpopulated, so I was excited to spot P is for Palestine by Golbarg Bashi at my local book culture. The book is fantastic on so many levels. It features a little girl with curly black hair, big eyes, and brown skin. The illustrations are gorgeous, and it teaches the alphabet through egalitarian and multicultural words from both Arabic and English, like C is for Christmas, E is for Eid, and M is for Miftah, key of return. But nothing Palestine-related, no matter how anodyne, can be consumed safely in America, let alone on the Upper West Side. When I started chatting with the cashier when I bought the book a couple weeks ago, I learned that the store was in the middle of a targeted boycott campaign. "They haven't even read it," he said. Googling the story, I learned that Bashi, the author, received death threats and needed police security at her Storytime reading at Book Culture's Upper West Side location. Book Culture received threats comparable to when it refused to ban Salman Rushdie's satanic verses after Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini issued a fatwa. A local synagogue threatened to ban Book of Culture from an upcoming book fair if the owners did not denounce the book, and anti-Palestinian activists called for a boycott of the store. The Upper East Mamas Facebook group was shut down after parents went ballistic over the book, as reported in Page 6, The Forward, and the New York Post. Parenting makes you acutely attuned to evidence of future dystopia, and as a new mother and writer, this scared me viscerally. But as an attorney with Palestine Legal, this didn't surprise me. P is for Palestine's detractors, predictably, complained even about the use of the word Palestine, claiming that there is no such place. Others disagreed with text empathizing with refugees longing to return to the homeland they were expelled from. All of their claims perfectly illustrate the, quote, Palestinian exception, where speech that even engages with Palestinian culture, let alone criticizes Israel occupation, is targeted for censorship. But the primary impetus for the censorship calls is a page in the book depicting a Palestinian girl flashing peace signs behind barbed wire, along with the following text. I is for Intifada is Arabic for rising up for what's right, if you are a kid or a grown-up. Contrary to the detractors' claims, Intifada is not synonymous with violence. Intifada is used to describe the Palestinian uprisings against the Israeli occupation and means, quote, to shake off, in Arabic. Bashi said she used the word to describe daily acts of peaceful resistance to Israel's suffocating 50-year-old rule over Palestinians in the occupied territories, from carrying a Palestinian flag to wearing a Palestinian dress and protecting a Palestinian olive tree from being bulldozed. For Palestinians, Intifada is about throwing off the shackles of Israel's half-century-old occupation, about rising up against 70 years of dispossession and oppression, about taking a stand against apartheid, Civil disobedience, such as prisoner hunger strikes and sit-down blockades of bulldozers, have featured prominently in Palestinian tactics covered by Intifada, even if neglected by international media. But when it comes to Palestine, truth and facts matter less, and Israel's staunchest supporters will attempt to censor artists, musicians, and even playwrights, who they believe reflect poorly on Israel. The owners of book culture, facing a loss of sales during the busy holiday season, felt forced to issue a statement declaring that they do not endorse boycott, divestment, and sanctions, BDS campaigns for Palestinian rights. The author supports BDS, though the book doesn't mention it, and that they support Israel's right to exist. Apologizing for the hurt caused to Israel advocates by the picture book, Book Culture's owner, Krish Doblin, stated that, as a bookseller, we try not to be offensive, but there is no way we can be ahead of every single thought and idea in every book that comes into our store. Yet we want to be respectful. Wandering around book culture, you can spot books that are actually banned in some parts of the country, like Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, and The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. You can find Fannin's Wretched of the Earth, celebrating the killing of colonizers and Mao's discursion on peasant insurgency. You can buy The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz and The Refugees by Viet Thanh Nguyen, both by authors who support BDS as tactic to pressure Israel to respect Palestinian rights. Or you can buy A is for Activist, an illustrated alphabet book for pre-readers similar to P is for Palestine, which states X is for Malcolm X, and Z is for Zapatista. Respectful? The store is filled with political authors whose words many people at one time or another, or right now, have both embraced and found offensive. In a world increasingly gutted of well-funded public libraries, browsing bookstores might be the last outpost of random encounters with ideas. Bookstore owners shouldn't have to take stances on the viewpoints of any of the books on their shelves. Book Culture refused to censor or ban Bashi's book, but store clerks were reportedly forced to hide copies behind the cash register, like something out of a Soviet-era spy novel. You could only get a copy if you knew to ask for it. The store's Yelp reviews have taken a hit, as has the Facebook page for the author's business. Bashi has the full hatred of an internet troll battalion. She has received messages threatening to report her to the Department of Homeland Security, deport her to Guantanamo, along with streams of pornographic emails and calls for her book to be banned or burned. The good news is that P is for Palestine has sold out and is in its second printing. The bad news is writers still can't humanize Palestinians without facing death threats for doing so. While conservatives and liberals alike bemoan mobs enforcing political correctness on public speech, the Palestinian exception remains. Will booksellers and publishers take a stand against McCarthyism and for freedom of expression? Published by Viking in 2023, These Olive Trees. Written and illustrated by Aya Ghanameh. These Olive Trees. A Palestinian Family's Story. It's 1967 in Nablus, Palestine. Ore loves the olive trees that grow outside the refugee camp where she lives. Each harvest, she and her mama pick the small fruits, and she eagerly stomps on them to release their golden oil. Olives have always tied her family to the land, as Ore learns from the stories Mama tells of a home before war. But war has come to their door once more, forcing them to flee. Even as her family is uprooted, Ore makes a solemn promise to her beloved olive trees. She will see to it that their legacy lives on for generations to come. Debut author-illustrator Aya Ghanameh boldly paints a tale of bitterness, hope, and the power of believing in a free and thriving future. Every year, Mama harvests the olives right outside the refugee camp where Ore and her family live. This year, as she prunes the olive grove under a sky of infinite blue-gray, Ore wonders about the first person to ever taste the small oval fruit. She imagines them picking the olive and biting halfway down into its savory center. They must have waited years for the tree to produce even a single fruit. Did they like how it tasted? Oreb thinks they must have hated it. Olives don't always taste very good directly from the tree. They can be quite bitter at first. Or maybe, Ore ponders, they were pleasantly surprised by its acidity. Ore is always too impatient to go through the weeks-long process of curing and bringing the fruit the way her mama taught her, too eager to taste the olive straight from the tree. She ends up disappointed by the bitter taste, but sometimes the olive surprises her, and she finds joy in the bitterness. After all, with work and patience, these bitter olives can be used to make so many things. In the refugee camp, they use the trimmings from the trees to light fires and to make ornaments and tools. They press the oil from the olives to cook and even to make soap. Sometimes her life in the camp surprises her too, and she finds happiness in the sorrow around her. Mama passes the olives to Ore, who always helps her family in the grove. It's odd that we're gathering the olives so soon, Ore thinks to herself. It's not harvest season quite yet. Still, Ore prepares herself to stomp, stomp, stomp on the olives as she always does, to remove their pits and pour their oozing liquid into pressed bags. But her mama stops her. "We are not cleaning or crushing any olives today," says Mama, "just packing them to go." "Go?" Mama nods. Go. Mama and the rest of their family used to live in a village called Al-Tira by the coast of Palestine. Generations of her family had tended the olive trees there, too, for hundreds of years. But one day, before Ore was born, the war came. They carried what they could and walked for many days until they reached the other side of the country to escape it. But they couldn't save their olive trees. Since then, they have lived in a makeshift canvas house in the Balata refugee camp near the city of Nablus. Ore and her younger brother and sister were born here. The camp is the only home she's ever known. And there are more olive trees here. Ore and her mama walk back from the orchard, carrying the olives and tree trimmings. But within the camp, piles of blankets and boxes now line the rows of tents. Families frantically load trucks with bundles of wrapped canvas. Are we going on a trip? Ore asks. Yes, dear. Mama's eyes look misty. The war has come to our doorstep again, even in Balata camp. The sky is gray, and the earth is damp with the knowledge that the war has found its way to Nablus. Where are we going? Do we have to go? Ore asks Mama. Mama pauses. I don't know where, but wherever we go, we have each other. But what about our house? What about the olive trees? We will have a new tent. As for the trees, says Mama, we can't save them. Mama follows Oreb's siblings into the tent, helping the rest of the family gather their belongings. Alone outside, Ore looks at the olive pits lying around their tent, the pits they had prepared to be planted in the fall. We can, she decides. I will borrow an olive and plant its seed. She is sure the earth would not mind. She looks to the sky. May I borrow your rain? She is sure the clouds would not mind either, for it may be the last time she sees the sky above her home for a while. After all, someone needs to look after the land, so their olive trees live on. Gently, she plants a pit. Although olive trees take a long, long time to grow, and even longer to produce olives, Ore decides that for once she will be patient. Wait for me. One day, when we're older, I'll return to you for harvest. Author's note. Ore's story never ended. My grandmother Ore was born in Nablus, Palestine in 1953 after the exodus called the Nakba, or the catastrophe, upended the lives of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians in 1948. Growing up in Jordan, I learned that the story of my family's Nakba was only a fraction of a broader campaign to empty every Palestinian city of Palestinians. This included Haifa, located today inside the Green Line, past the apartheid wall through which we cannot return. Haifa was once home to around 70,000 Palestinians. After 1948, only 4,000 remained. Since then, the occupying state and settlers have cut down and destroyed more than 800,000 olive trees, some of which were over 5,000 years old. Today, the olive tree is a symbol of Palestinian resistance, longevity, and identity. It is reflective of the importance of our ancestral lands to who we are. Our relationship to community, culture, and place is sustained by the land that has always sustained us. To this day, Palestinians are being forcibly removed from their homes as the occupying state slowly swallows the land in its entirety. The Nakba is not a single story that can be told in a book. It is not only Ore's story either. It is the story of every child displaced, from the military occupation of Nablus to the blockade of Gaza. It is the story of every Palestinian refugee who was condemned to a life in the refugee camps, and the story of every olive tree still standing. Like these olives, we are still here. For my Teta Ore, who inspires love and resilience in us all, everything I do is for you. Viking, Penguin Random House, 2023. Thank you for joining me.